Hi, Empress Justice here, and this is everything that I've learned about Leos. Now, Leos are often tagged with the whole dramatic, loud, okay, whatever. Listen, when Leos come into this world, Leos are blessed with magic, they are blessed with enchantment, but also what they tend to find is a lot of people fucking trying them constantly. And literally, a Leo could be minding their business and people will constantly try them over and over and over again. And as for the magical experiences in life, that can come with a lot of intensity. And there are also a lot of intense emotions and situations that Leos can experience, even when they come from good households. To be a Leo is to be born into magic and mysticism, yes, but also a lot of intensity, disruptions, upheavals, changes to ideals, changes to structures, and a lot of people provoking them and pressing their buttons, which is why Leos can be bossy, which is why Leos can be highly strung. They are like this in response to what they have been born into. Again, even if they come from really loving environments and loving families, they have been through some intense experiences and sometimes even rough experiences. Now, the positive aspect of this is that it means Leo has a natural assertiveness that they're born with, and they also have a very ahead of their time mentality. Oh God, I'm sorry. A lot of Leos can be very ahead of their time, especially evolved Leos. They can be very ahead of their time when it comes to their ideals, when it comes to the way they move, when it comes to the way they think. And on top of that, there's that beautiful natural assertiveness. I know what I want and I know what I stand for. And again, that's only because of how much they've been knocked around by life, even when their family lives are good. Their biggest bullies often come from their own homes. And that's before they even get into the outside world. There's a lot that Leos were supposed to feel that have either been repressed or been provoked. And it's led to a lot of intensity that they have had to manage from an early age. So yeah, you forgive me if I give Leo some grace here. Okay, so this is where I get into their character. Now, I've told you the reasons why they're dramatic and intense, but it can also be the reason why Leos like to wring joy and happiness out of every situation like a wet rag. It's not just attention and limelight they want. Actually, truth be told, Leos' attention and limelight, they don't like to receive that unless they've actually done something. So it's not even that. They like to wring joy out of life like a wet rag because they know how bad it can get. They know how intense things can get in a negative direction. So any opportunity to see the positive, to protect the positive, to stand up for happiness and joy and laughter and, all that type of stuff, Leo will take it. Any opportunity to feel positivity, to fight for positivity, to talk about positivity, Leo will take it. Any opportunity to fight for love, to do what they need to do for love, Leo will take it. Because again, because of the world that they've been brought into, they know how bad it can get. Okay? That's why Leos are the way that they are. And also their insecurities. Hey, that's not that unusual either. When you are born into an environment of intensity or deep psychological experiences, or being knocked around by life, it can make you feel like you're not beautiful, loved, or cherished enough. That's the insecurity of a lot of Leos. And again, they're like that because of the emotional intensity that they've been subjected to. They can feel like they're not beautiful enough, like they're not cherished enough, and like they're not loved enough. It comes from the mixed messages that they get from these intense experiences that they keep being subjected to, right? It's not necessarily because the spotlight isn't on them 100% of the time. It's because of trauma. It's because of the trauma of intense experiences leaving them with mixed messages about how people really feel about them, because the same people poking at them are the same ones turning around to the Leos saying how amazing and magnificent they are. And it leaves Leo thinking, well, hang on a second, if I'm that magnificent, why am I not getting the love that I'm supposed to get? Why is everything so hard? If I'm so beautiful and I'm so lovable and I'm so worthy of being cherished, then why the fuck is everything so difficult? It can leave Leos questioning themselves in that way, although they try not to. Again, natural assertiveness and being ahead of the curve is a defense mechanism for how they feel inside about not being beautiful or loved enough. And I feel like, again, this is the reason why, some lower lowercase Leos, or, lower frequency Leos can be attention seeking, because the same blessings that they have, intense magic, intense power, transformation, having thick skin, having developed thick skin as a result of being knocked around in their early experiences, emotionally or even physically in some cases. That's what leads to these insecurities that they try to make up for by being the baddest. That's why a lot of Leos like to dress up. They like to look good. They like to, have their makeup, hair, manicure, all that type of thing on point so that they can feel loved and cherished, so that they can make up for it, make up for that deficit that they feel from the emotional experiences that they've had to endure. And again, like a Leo could be the most gorgeous person on the planet, the most beautiful, loved, cherished person on the planet. Because of what they've had to come into, it wouldn't be enough for them. Well, that's for a lower frequency Leo anyway. For a higher frequency Leo, they would realize that they could make their own beauty, they could make their own love, they could make their own romance right where they are, turn their whole world into that, and then watch people who want to add to it come into their lives. But yeah, Leo isn't just like some shiny, happy-go-lucky, vainglorious egotist. Like, they're actually very reasonable. That's another thing about Leos that people don't often perceive. Leos can be very reasonable. They're not just these dynamic and joyful people. They're not just these vainglorious people who are like, ta-da! They're not just like that. They are also quite rational and quite reasonable and like to use logic and work things out in an intellectual fashion as well. They can be very, very intelligent. Not always the most instinctive sign, I'm not going to lie. Leos are not that instinctive. They only get that way through experience. But for the most part, very intelligent, very well-reasoned people that usually say things that are worth listening to. And again, that's because of the transformative experiences that they've had. A lot of them have had growing up. It gives a unique insight that is quite often a gift for a lot of people, and they always try to give people that insight, but they don't listen, so they get bossy. But I think what a Leo should do instead of being bossy is to just bring people into their lives who actually respect their viewpoints, because a Leo can be extremely level-headed, and I mean extremely. A lot of people think that Leos are just all over that. No, they're not. They might do things that seem crazy, but that's only because Leos can be kind of hyper sane, in the sense that they see things that other people don't, and it can really frustrate them. But yes, Leos are highly intelligent, highly well-reasoned. They are more than just fabulous hair and fabulous behinds. They have reason and logic and intelligence. They're not just these vainglorious people that just toss and keep it moving. Like, they have souls. They have, well-reasoned arguments. There's so much depth to them that people don't get. So that was for Leos. That was everything that I learned about Leos. I've been Empress Justice. I'll see you in the next reading. Peace and blessings. Bye bye, my darlings.